For the next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about a few things that every entrepreneur should know about money. And when I say a few things, I mean 10 specific things that I have learned over the last, I guess now 20 years. Makes me feel really old to say that. But over the last 20 years, here are 10 things that I have come to believe are a crucially important part of being a small business owner, entrepreneur, solopreneur, professional services provider. If you have anything to do with your business and money, this pertains to you. So here it is 10 things that I think everyone needs to know when it comes to money, right? Number one, don't spend more than you have. I know that seems counter to a lot of different people out there where they're talking about leveraging debt and the importance of borrowing. And here's what I have come to know though. There is a consideration of peace that needs to be factored in with the way that we spend and save money. All right. And what I mean by peace is I mean your mental peace, your emotional peace of going, it's not worth the stress and the potential detriment to your physical and your mental and emotional health to over leverage yourself in order to grow, right? Spend money that you have. Don't spend money that you don't have. The interest rates aren't worth it. The stress isn't worth it. And at the end of the day, what you need to be more focused on is how do I generate more revenue, not how do I borrow more money. Now, that's not everyone's financial beliefs, but those are mine. It's just don't spend more than what you have. Number one, right? Number two, you cannot cut your way to growth. Now, there is a time and a place, and I want to preface this, that you do have to cut expenses. And sometimes that unfortunately means that valuable team members have to be laid off. That means that you don't get to do as many experiential things for your customers. That means you don't get to use the types of products that you want or vendors that you want. There is a time and a place in order for a company to survive that you have to cut expenses. But that is in survival mode, not growth mode. You cannot cut your way to financial growth. That has to come through revenue expansion, whether that is with new services, new customers. It doesn't matter, but the whole idea of like, I'm just going to cut to make more money, that very rarely works in the long run. That works when you're in a survival place, not in order to grow, right? So you cannot cut your way to growth. Growth has to happen through revenue expansion. That's number two. Number three, one amazing hire can and will most likely do the work of three average hires. Now, why does that have to do with money? Because one amazing hire costs more, right? I know so many of my friends and myself have justified, well, I just can't afford that, six-figure hire, or I can't afford that $80,000 role. The company can't afford it. I've said these words before, which is why they resonate. And the truth is, what ends up happening is you have to hire a couple of different VAs, more entry level full-time person for maybe that $40,000 that you convinced $40,000 salary that you convinced yourself you could afford. And the truth is now you're managing 3 or 4 people in a part-time or a entry level role or a low performing standard due to lack of experience because you didn't invest in one amazing hire. And so I just want to reiterate, it's like often one amazing hire, which will cost more money, will save you time and money in the long run. So if you invest in high quality talent, it will save you time and it will save you money, right? So think about how can I invest more into less people that are, A players, right? Only hire A players. If they're not an A player, why did you hire them? Right? But A players cost more. So they do need to be paid more. So that was number 3. Number 4, your financials are your business. So do not outsource your financials without understanding and reviewing the numbers on in my opinion, daily basis, and at a minimum, a weekly basis. Now, I am not saying that every business owner needs to be CPA standards or needs to be in the weeds of every single financial detail. But what I am saying is that your money is your business. Your financials are your responsibility as the business owner. You are the financial fiduciary of your company and your people and your customers, right? That is your business. And I think way too often we take the approach of, well, I didn't go to school for accounting or finance, or, I don't know tax law, or I don't understand QuickBooks, or I don't know how that works. I hear this a lot. Oh, I have a person who takes care of that. What? What do you mean you have a person who takes care of that? It's like you have to understand. I'm not saying you have to be the one to do it, but you have to understand how it works. There is too much opportunity for fraud, mismanagement. I would just say carelessness of other people when it comes to your money. No one is going to watch your money like you do because it's your money, right? Other people will spend more than you would. They will not be as detailed as you would. And so you cannot outsource this part of the business without understanding and reviewing on a very regular basis. Not to say you have to do all of it. I'm not saying that, but you do have to understand it and you do have to have a rhythm of review. Okay. So your financials are your business. That's number 4. Number 5. This is kind of an extension of number 4. You can only beat fraud if you catch it quickly. So have daily checks and balances on your spending. Now, this hits really close to home for me right now because this is, I don't know, maybe 5 months ago now, we had a brand new accounting person come on our team. And with new accounting people, they don't know the regular patterns of spending, which is why you have to stay involved even when you outsource it, even when you hire someone. And I was literally sitting at my computer one morning. I'm not exaggerating. This literally happened just 5 months ago. And I'm sitting at my computer and it was early in the morning, like 9 a.m. And I had a few minutes and I was just trying to catch up on a few emails. And this was just by the grace of God that I was at my computer at this very moment. And a QuickBooks paid receipt invoice came through because they still come to me. I have them in a roll. They go to a folder, but I still review them. Yes, I do. So call that micromanagement, call that being prudent, whatever you want to call it. I still review those. And I see that it said to a person named Ann Donovan, who's actually a real person, as it turns out. And I'm like, Ann Donovan. But what really triggered me was it was for $40,000. Now, as the owner and the CEO of the business, I do know our spending habits because I watch them closely. We don't spend $40,000 often. And so I was like, well, that is interesting. So I clicked into the invoice. It was, what was this for? And in the memo notes of the invoice, it had legal fees. And I'm like, legal fees? We do not have $40,000 in legal fees. What is this? So I take a screenshot of it and I sent it to the accountant. And they said, oh, yes, I paid this with approval from Rory, who's my husband and business partner. So I immediately took that screenshot, sent it to Rory. He was in the middle of a meeting. I said, whatever you're doing, step out of this meeting right now. I think I probably dialed him up 14 times in 30 seconds. And he goes, babe, I didn't approve that. So I sent that back to my accountant. He said, well, here's the email stating that he did approve it. And that's why I paid it. So 3 things happened here. 1, someone had hacked Rory's email, sent a fake invoice. 2, our accountant paid it because it came from Rory Vaden. 3, he didn't follow SOPs, which are no payments more than $1,000 get paid without payment approval. 2, we don't, this is the second thing, right? A part of that process that he didn't follow. We don't pay payments like that ACH ever. There were so many things that happened here that were just unbelievably, unfortunately, due to the fact that we had a new accounting person, right? And that's all I'm going to say, not to put blame anywhere, but I think those are one of the things that if I had not taken responsibility, been sitting at my email, that was just God's favor. But if I had not taken the responsibility of go, I still get those paid receipts. If I was not on top of it quickly, we would not have ever been able to recover those funds. And although I caught it at the moment it came in, it had actually processed 2 days earlier. So at that point, it had already cleared our bank. right? So since it was paid with ACH, it had already cleared. There is no recouping it once it clears. So we had reached out to the other bank, which was Chase Bank. We filed a fraudulent alert with the account. And it was only because they had already suspicious activity on the other account, we were able to get that money back. But I had to sign affidavits. I had to shut down our accounts. It has taken us 5 months to turn over all of the accounts that we had to shut down, change everything out. And that is with someone who I'm saying myself is I am on it. And it still happened under, the review of someone else. Now, there were processes that weren't followed. So that's a part of you got to have processes in place. But my point is, you cannot beat fraud if you do not catch it quickly. And if you are not in your financials, you will not catch it quickly. I heard from our banker story after story after story of how many clients for tens, thousands, hundreds of thousands. And actually, one client lost $3.2 million due to unreviewed fraudulent charges, never recovered $3 million. How are you not seeing that? And the truth is, it happens all the time because it happens in micro amounts, or in this case, but that's a large expenditure for us. But someone else doesn't know your patterns. You do. You know what you approve. Now, at some point, if you're a large corporation, I know that there's differences, but I'm talking to the entrepreneur, the solopreneur, and you've got to own that. And you can only beat fraud if you catch it quickly, which means you've got to be in the details, and a team who is in the details. And you've got to own the review part of this piece of your business. So 4 and 5 are around your financials. 4 is your financials are your business, and you can only beat fraud if you catch it quickly, which means you have to have checks and balances. You have to have systems and processes. You have to have a trustworthy team. And it is your job to be in the details of your money, in my opinion. Number 6, still on that financial path here, tax strategy is just as much your responsibility as it is your CPA, right? You need to know just enough to be dangerous, in my opinion. But if you think, oh, my CPA is going to be the one who learns all the strategies and learns all the things out there and bring them to me, I would just kindly inform you that's likely not the case. Now, maybe a few of you have an amazing tax strategist out there, which is often different than a CPA. Perhaps that's the case. Most often, that is not the case. And back to ownership, right? My take on this is it's my job to figure out what is out there and how does that pertain to my business. I know my business better than anyone else does as the business owner. So I will bring every single idea I find to my CPA, and then we vet it together. I do not rely, and I have had tax strategy firms, tax attorneys. I have all of the things, but I do not rely on them, right? I rely on myself to go, what's out there, what's pertinent, what's relevant. And then I take it to the experts. I take it to people who know the law and the code better, and they're the ones who vet it, right? But the whole idea of someone else is going to constantly looking at how to save you money and to make sure you're structured in the right way and that you are doing all the different things, that's just not the case. It's truly not. That is your job as the financial fiduciary of the company, the business owner. But there are experts to vet and to implement. I'm not saying that's all on you, but it is your job. So what do? You attend classes, you attend webinars, seminars. I follow all different types of financial podcasts. I'm reading financial books. I'm constantly getting updated on different newsletters that I subscribe to that have to do with tax strategy and tax law and tax changes, which happens all the time. There's a lot. And I'm just looking for enough things that I know that would sound like they apply to my business to take it to a team of people who will know if they apply to my business. And then we implement the ones that are ethical and that fit, and we forget the ones that don't. But my job is to constantly be on the lookout for those things, right? Number 7, when it comes to money, what you need to know about money as an entrepreneur. Number 7, help your people earn more money as the company earns more money. Right? I think a huge part of the benefit of being a part of a small business and an entrepreneurial environment is that everyone really has an opportunity to help the company grow. And everyone should be able to be rewarded in that. That is why people stay, as they see growth potential. They see income potential. No one is blind to the growth around you. And we're in a season of like there is so much switching from careers and companies and people leaving the traditional workforce and starting their own businesses. Um, there's just an amazing opportunity of going like we want to be a company that as we grow, everyone grows with us because that's how you develop and retain A players. So as the company grows, make sure that you're helping your people grow, and a part of that is financially. Make sure that they get to share in the benefit of all the work that everyone is doing because it is everyone in a small business. There is not one person making it all happen. That's the beauty of a small business. It's a team, it's a family. And so everyone would love to have the benefit of financial growth as the company grows. And that is a huge part of loyalty and retention and productivity and performance and happiness and longevity of the business. So help your people make more money as the company grows. Number 8, help turn your customer force into your sales force. As a sales force or as a small business, not often do we think about how do we have a constantly growing team of employees because we're constantly looking at our budget. But what I am constantly looking at is, well, in addition to our team, how do we help our customers take on some of the opportunity to help us grow our company? Right. And so there's a lot of different things that we can do as small business owners that we think we can't afford. Like sometimes I say this to my husband all the time. It's like, we can't afford that. And so if we can't afford that, what can we afford? And it's just a rewiring of our thinking. So I've really had to train myself to go, it's not that we can't afford it, it's what can we afford? And so I have really changed my vernacular and I'm really trying to say that's not in our, like I do not say that's not in our budget. We cannot afford it. Instead, I go, what is in our budget and what can we afford? And turning your customer force into your sales force is one of the most affordable things that you can do instead of having to hire full-time salespeople or do paid traffic campaigns. So I would encourage you to figure out how can you reward your customers for them helping you bring more clients to your business. So we have a lifetime referral program for all of our customers, for any customer of Brand Builders Group, for any person that they refer to us that is not already in our system, we will pay 10% of gross revenue lifetime referral fees. Why? Because we're trying to get our customers to become our sales force. We know that referrals convert better and faster. We know that people refer people who are like them, which means that we are creating a like-minded community. We also know that people who refer once will refer again, and people who are referred will refer. We also know that when people refer their friends, they're building a community, which increases retention. There are 10 other things I could probably list here that are really beneficial, but we've made a very intentional effort of if we cannot afford to build a sales force of high paid sales professionals, what we can do is afford a percentage of revenue that goes out to our customers and turn them into our sales force. So, how can you grow your customer base by actually using your customer base to help you generate more leads? So, turn your customer force into your sales force. That's number 8. Number 9, a few extra dollars to your top line or bottom line, doesn't matter. A few extra dollars is never worth an unhappy customer or an unhappy employee. And there is always a way to find a win-win. So what do I mean by that? I mean, often as business owners, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we're so focused on the top line or the bottom line that we forget about the most important thing, which is people. And people matter. And often they matter more than the short-term financials. Now, long-term financials have to be in place and they have to work because that is taking care of the people. Taking care of your money is taking care of your people because you're still in business. That is important. So don't hear what I'm not saying. I also know that we often, sometimes accidentally, unintentionally make decisions based on short-term revenue, top line or bottom line, and we lose our long-term perspective of what that's going to do to the relationships with our employees or our customers. And a few dollars is just never worth that. It's never worth somebody leaving and telling all of their friends an unexpected, notice of, employment where they're going, I'm out. Like, this is not okay with me. It's not worth it. And so really consider and reconsider the choices that you make that have to do with just money, which leads me to number 10. Not everything is about money. And that to me, although it's number 10 on this list, is the very first and most important thing that I have learned in the last 20 years of being in business. The most important thing that I think you should know about money is that not everything is about money. It's just not. Um, Money will come as a byproduct of serving people really well, of doing something that gets results, of loving people extraordinarily well, of serving people in a unique way, of doing what you were called to do in a way that only you can do it. Money is a byproduct of serving other people. And it comes faster when you love what you do, you love who you do it with. And in fact, you love it so much that you would do it for free. Getting paid for it is just a bonus. Like the fact that you get paid to do what you do is just icing on the cake. Because the truth is, what you want to be doing in life, what you need to be doing, you would do it for free if you could, because you love it so much. Even if you weren't getting paid for it, you'd still be doing it. And the people you're doing it with, you want to be working with people that even if you weren't paid, you'd still want to work with them. Right. And it's like, I think about my team and it's like, man, if there was ever a dire situation where I had to cut pay or, you know, make really hard decisions. It's like, I would hope that we would have such a strong team that they would go, I would do this even if you didn't pay me, AJ. Now, I know that's unrealistic. People need to get paid. I know they got bills. And at the same time, I'm not talking about the realistic and the logical approach. That is the hard approach of like, I would do it no matter what. I love what I do and I love the team I'm doing it with. And that's worth more than money, because that emanates. And when you love what you do, everyone else can feel it. They can feel the joy and the pride that comes from just doing something that you believe is helping other people. And you know what? That spreads. And when that spreads, the money always comes. Money is a byproduct of serving people and doing something that really works, that really helps people. And so not everything is about money. And I know that money is a prerequisite for a lot of things in life, but not everything. So just remember, in the midst of staying on top of your financials and being in the weeds and being in the details and knowing how you spend your money, knowing how you make your money, just know that at the end of the day, there's another component that's more important, and it's called people. Because not everything is about money. So those are the 10 things I have learned that I think every entrepreneur should know when it comes to money. We'll see you next time.